Moment of truth. I think this is all of my WIPs. I think. Let's see. You may or may not remember that I've been working very hard at going through the craft room. And the other day, as you saw, I decided I was going to pull out all my WIPs because I was finding things that, not that I didn't know about, but that are easily forgotten. And I put them all in this pile, and they're on the ground too. And I decided to share them with you. This is a moment of truth, and I am going to write them all down, and I'm going to come up with some sort of plan. Now, looking at all these WIPs, I don't see anything that I want to frog or throw in the bin or anything, but I do like to go into the new year with little to no WIPs. I don't think that's going to be a possibility this year, but we're going to see what I have here because it's a little bit out of control for my liking. I've got a pen and paper here on top of a book because I couldn't find anything else, and I've written down the things that I can recall the names of, but I'm going to continue and write down other things as we go. There's a lot over here, so let's just jump right into it. In no particular order, I have a bin here of mini skeins, which can only mean one thing. This one is not going to be finished this year. There's no way in the world it would be finished. This is my Scrappy Happy blanket. Wow, this is big. Oh, wow. What are you seeing? You're seeing a quarter of it, I think. A third of it. So this one is ongoing, but truth be told, I don't think I've put a single stitch into this blanket this year, so maybe we need to make it a point to give it a little bit of love. It's heavy. It's really heavy. It's also beautiful. So Scrappy Happy, that is absolutely zero surprise to me that was a WIP. I knew that was a WIP. Everybody knows that's a WIP. And it's going to stay a WIP for as long as it stays a WIP. That's okay. My next WIP is absolutely disgraceful. I have no idea what pattern this is. This wasn't in my pile. I actually just found it when I was looking around to make sure I didn't have anything else I couldn't recall. And this is a short sleeve sweater, summer sweater, that I knit last year. Literally finished it, I want to say September of last year. It's done. It needs the ends woven in, and it needs to be blocked. And instead of doing that, it's been sitting in a bin, just sitting there. So I think we need to move this up the priority list. I need to put this on my list, but I don't even know what the pattern was, so I'm going to write mystery short sleeve sweater. Cross stitch project. This is a more recent start. This is Gobble from Bench Creek, and I'm making fairly good progress on this, but I haven't stitched in a month, so I just have to pull this out. I'd like to get this done for Thanksgiving. I don't actually have any finishing ideas for it yet, but I'd like to get it done. The turkey's done. He's just under the Q-snap. So Gobble from Bench Creek. That shouldn't take eons to do. Okay, I've got a quilt top here that is totally finished, and I can tell you I made this quilt top in the other house. What's worse is I also have the back sitting here with the quilt top. So all I really need to do is iron this, baste it, and quilt it. But it's sitting there undone. This wouldn't take that long. I'm just going to do some straight stitch quilting on it because that's all I really know how to do. That's all I really have the patience to do. But this should be quilted. Should be. totally usable. I have everything I need. Let's finish it, folks. Shall we see what's in this bin? All right. Right on top, we have some yarn. This is Big Twist, which is Joanne's yarn. And I have all of these granny squares. And all that I need to do to these granny squares, because the ends are all woven in, I haven't snipped them yet. All I need to do to these granny squares is sew them together into 2 stockings and put the cuff on them. Not gonna lie, that's my least favorite part of making the stockings, but it wouldn't take that long. So let's do that. These are for someone. They haven't asked for them, but they've asked for them in the past, and this is leftover yarn from that. So I decided to make a couple extra to keep on hand. And this is as far as I got. Well, this is an oldie but a goodie. It's in a really fancy project bag. It's a cross stitch. It is my first ever cross stitch on even weave. I literally masking taped the ends. There's just a thread hanging out here. I have a feeling this is probably full of mistakes. Is that a traveling thread that far? Oh my lord. Well, we'll have to fix that. Anyway, this is what it is, what it looks like now. Let's see if I can show you what it's supposed to look like. This was initially a kit from Bucilla called Dog Wisdom. And looking at this now, this would really take me very little time to stitch. But when I started this, this was like way outside of what I would be capable of doing. It does appear there's a lot of counting between the words, but if I was off a half a stitch, no one is going to know in this layout. So I don't think I'll finish this year. Dog stuff is a little too raw for me right now, but maybe I will put this aside to pull out next year, because there is talk of getting a dog in the spring, but we're just in discussions right now. This is Farm Quaker from Jardin Privé. I was a little concerned when I saw this because I saw the cow grime guard, but that's just the grime guard I put on it. I was afraid that Bessie was in here, and I knew Bessie's not in here. So I haven't made significant progress on this one. Let me pull the Q-snap off for you. I mean, I haven't even finished a page, but I do really enjoy this one. Will I finish this year? Likely not, but it is one that I will finish. Well, I hope to finish next year and maybe get it framed for the spring. It's a lot of fun. This is also, I think this is on linen. It's on linen or even weave. It's on a fabric. What's next? Okay, we'll go back to this bin. This is another old one. I don't know when I finished this. The majority of the knitting. This is the Vivid. As you can see, I have started to sew it together, but I haven't gotten very far. And I really just need to sit down and sew this together and put the border on it, because I love this project. I think it's going to look really great on this couch, which doesn't need to be covered anymore. I had it covered for Dewey. It would also look really great on the sofa upstairs, but got to pull that out. This is knit out of, I don't know if you can get this anymore, Stylecraft Batik yarn. And it has been sitting in this bin for a significant amount of time. Another knitting WIP I have is Kristen's sweater, which is actually put on pause right now because I ran out of yarn and I had to order more yarn. Scary. But that has to come from the UK, so it'll be a while. Let's move on to this basket, shall we? All right. At the top here, I have a quilt that I was working on with Maureen, Simply More Crafts. I think that's what she called her YouTube channel. Correct me if I'm wrong, Maureen. These are leftover pieces. This is more contrast fabric. This is what I'm going to use for my binding. And I have all these squares. I do not have a pattern for this, so I don't know how this goes together. So I'm going to have to reach out to Maureen and ask her what this was called so I can find the pattern. I know it was a free pattern. I think it was from Missouri Star Quilt Company, but don't quote me on that. These are jelly rolls that I got probably 7-8 years ago at Walmart. So that tells you how long I've had this. I believe we worked on this last winter, and then stuff just happened and we stalled. So this is on my list as the unnamed quilt with Maureen. So there's that. All right, I have another quilt top that has not been quilted. This is actually the first quilt top that I successfully made, and I wasn't really discouraged by how it turned out. However, this may be the ugliest fabric in the history of man, in my opinion. So I haven't been encouraged, shall we say, to quilt this. But I have backing somewhere. I have a backing. I just bought a sheet from Walmart to back this, which I know is kind of faux pas, but I do it all the time. And my thinking is I'm going to quilt this. I have the batting, I have the backing. I'll quilt it, bind it, and I'll either put it in the gift bin. I actually think that I know someone who would actually really like this. It's just not my cup of tea color-wise, but I do think I know someone who would like this. And if that doesn't pan out, I can, gift it to Project Linus or something like that. Linus Project. Something like that. So, this probably will not be touched until at least 2021. I totally forgot about this WIP until literally 20 seconds ago when I reached for another one. And this is one that will take eons. I have no idea how you say this, but it's a hat. That's what it looks like. It's really beautiful. And let's see how far I've gotten into it. Okay, I finished the ribbing and I've gotten into the pattern. The yarn is Knit Picks Preciosa Fingering Tonal. This was sent to me by Maureen. It's beautiful. It is a very time-consuming pattern. That doesn't discourage me. But I started this while I was recovering from surgery, and then I took that turn for the worse, and I wasn't knitting for a while. So I actually totally forgot all about this. So I think I'm going to take this and put this up next to I have a recliner up in the living room that I sit in while we hang out at night. So I think I'm going to bring that up, and you can see I've just barely gotten into the pattern. So I need to add this one to the list. Constellate, maybe? That's not knit. That's not a quilt. Constellate. Yeah, I think it's Constellate. That's what I'm going to call it anyway. Let's pull from the cross stitch bin again, shall we? This is another kit. It is from Stitch Nicole. I have no idea where this came from, but life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. And I made a lot of progress on this year, and then I kind of lost a little bit of steam on it. I don't think this would take eons to finish. There is a lot of backstitch in it, so we'll see. There's still quite a bit at the top. But anyway, here's what I have done so far. This is going to be a focus project 2022 because I would like to get this framed and put up in the RV. So I am further along in it than I thought I was. So, and you may notice that the colors are distinctly different. I don't know if that'll change when I backstitch it. I don't imagine it will, but I don't mind these colors. They're just much more muted. Much, much more muted here than here. Which is actually more my style for in the RV, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, another WIP I have is the Bent Creek Monthlies. It looks like I have 6 left to do. I haven't started any of these, but these, I'm not going to touch these before next year. I have April, May, June, July, August, September. I'm not going to touch these until 2022. So back in the bag they go. All right, I just added those to the list and we're moving right along. This one is One Nation, which I started on Inauguration Day. This is stitched on 18 count vintage country mocha. I have not made a lot of progress on this, but that's okay. I don't care how long this takes me. I need to be in the mood to work on it, so there it is. I think I have a lot of stars left to go before I get to stripes, but I'm cruising. I'm going as fast as I'm going, and that's okay. Am I on page 1 still? Yep, I'm still on page 1, and that's okay. There are a lot of pages to this one. Let me see, 9? Nope, 8. 8 pages, which is by far the largest project I have ever worked on. By far. And it'll take as long as it takes, and that is totally fine by me. Back in the quilt bin, I have another finished top. I have no earthly idea what this was called. It was a free pattern, and I have the backing for this again, and I just need to quilt it. I need to sandwich it and quilt it and bind it and be done. And how many times can I say and? After that, I will be saving this one for a gift. I know exactly who I'm going to give it to because I think they would really like it. These jelly roll strips came from eBay before I knew anything about jelly roll strips. I think they even predate those Big Lots jelly rolls. So there's that. Paper. I do have one not even active. I have one WIP with paper. I generally do work on my paper projects start to finish. That's just where I am in it right now. It's probably not always going to be that way. And you saw this one very recently. This is the little mini album that I got a little stuck on while I was oh, this typo page. I thought it was falling apart. So is this mini album. I have the paper here. I have some embellishments I just threw across the room that I'd like to use on them. I have some more embellishments here. So I don't know when I'll finish this. Probably in November. I don't have any plans for it, so that's fine. There's no real rush. There's no rush. It'll be done when it is done, and I am perfectly okay with that. This is a blast from the past for all of you, I'm sure. I have a stack of project bags cut out, just waiting to be put together. I feel like there's probably more somewhere that I don't know about that are cut out and waiting to be put together, but I just need to sit down and do this. I don't have a dedicated sewing space right now, which makes it a little bit more challenging. Okay, this is a bag of Mill Hills. Oh my gosh, there's beads. Oh no, there's a little baggie of beads. I thought there were beads all over the bottom of the bag. Anyway, so it looks like I have this one, which I have done all the stitching. I just need to bead it, and this will take no time at all. I'm thinking this will probably be a beginning of December project. Do I say it's going to be done before Christmas? I don't want to guarantee it's going to be done before Christmas, but I would really like for this to be done before Christmas and on my tree, on my handmade tree. Looks like I have 2 more quilting projects and 1 more knitting project. This is also a jelly roll from Big Lots back in the day. I actually think that Walmart sells the same jelly roll now. This is the Jelly Roll Jam, if I remember correctly, from the Fat Quarter Shop. It's a free pattern. This I do not have a backing for. I have some flannel, but I didn't really want to back this in flannel. But as I'm sitting here in my craft room thinking about how I just want to use the stuff I have, I think I'm going to use that flannel. And iron, baste, quilt, and bind. And this will be done. And that really would take, you know, a day or 2 of dedicated time to do. And I'm seeing some threads here that I know better than to pull, but I'm pulling them. So, and I do love these colors. I love the bright cherry colors, and I think maybe before the first of the year. Let's see. This is from my friend Lorna I haven't heard from in a while, but that's okay. This was a kit that she sent me for this adorable little wall hanging mini quilt. It's called Leaping Lamb, and I have the backing fabric for it, which this seems like a lot. This is 3 yards. I don't know if this will be the backing fabric. I have several backing fabrics I could use for this. I'm actually thinking of one next to me might be better than this. I don't want to waste all this because this is a small quilt. It doesn't need 3 yards. This is also a top that is done. Look at it. Oh, I can't see any of it. This one is not going to be done before the first of the year because I am unsure as to how I am going to finish this. I don't know how I am going to quilt it because, as I mentioned, I'm really only comfortable with straight stitching. Perhaps I should send this out to a long armor and just do that, but I don't know. I would hate to send it to a long armor without a plan for it because that would be a significant chunk of change to then not know what I'm going to do with it, but that's okay. I do also have the yellow for the binding. It came in the kit. That. I think in the fabric line, which I can't think of what this fabric line is, the sheep is called Sheldon. I've had several fabrics from this line for project bags in the past, and I think he was called Sheldon, but don't quote me on that. I lied to you. I do have one more quilt project, and that is Penguin Party. And where am I at on this? Oh geez, I hope those aren't pieces I need. I don't think so. This is where I am. I believe I have all my pieces cut out, but my cheat sheet seems to have disappeared. Nope, here it is. Nope, that's not it. Oh, is this it? Oh, my cheat sheet. Nope, I am not finished cutting things out. I still need to cut out 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3. I think I have 4 cuts still left to do. This is just my cheat sheet. And then sew it together. This pattern intimidates me. The cutting intimidated me, and I've been able to get over that hurdle. The sewing of it together intimidates me. I'm sure I can do it. I just need to I get some faux confidence. I don't know, because my confidence level in my precision quilting is very low. So this 2022, not 2021. And last but not least, we have a knitting project, and this is, I don't have the pattern in here, but everybody knows this pattern. I'm gonna really hope I'm not in the middle of a row. I'm not. Bits and Bobs from the Bakery Bears, K. Jones. I am knitting this out of all my leftover scraps from the Scrappy Happy, tied together into a magic cake and a strand of speckled yarn. I am not too far into this. The last time I worked on this was in Pennsylvania last October, and that was a year ago. So, and I'm seeing a mistake. This is one that, while I do love it, I don't know. This seems like it will take me years, and I have to decide if I'm okay with that. Now that I've seen that mistake, that's going to bug me. I'm looking to see if there are any more glaring mistakes. I will show you my mistake. Let's see if you can see it. Do you see it? Oh my gosh, I can see it even in the screen. Let me see if I can hold it up for you. See that? That's going to drive me bonkers. So for now, I'm going to put her back in the bag and try and come to terms with the fact that I am not perfect. Okay, so I just counted it up, and that's 21 projects. 22 if you count the stockings as 2, which I would, so 22. And I just lumped all the project bags into one, which is what I would do because I would just sit down and batch sew those. So 22 WIPs. 22. That's more than I thought. It's a bit overwhelming. However, I'm just going to take it one project at a time. Some I've made the commitment to try and finish this year. Others I know are not going to be touched till next year or beyond. And that's okay. I would love to know, how many WIPs do you have? I bet it's not 23. And that's okay. And if it's 50, that's okay too. I've actually watched some floss tube videos where people have over 50 WIPs, and that's fine. There are no WIP police out there, I promise, and no WIP judging. This is a WIP judgment-free zone. Okay, I hope you enjoyed seeing my WIP craziness. I am now going to try and pick this all up and put it in a way that I will work on them as time allows and go from there. I will talk to you guys soon. Until next time, bye-bye.